Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the now All Things Football. Before I introduce the guest, I wanted to explain why I've changed it to All Things Football. And the reason why is down to you guys watching it. As you know, we are all Arsenal fans here. Am I right, Con, Oliver, Tony, all
yes.
Arsenal fans?
No, I'm a Spurs
but
fan, but I have the Arsenal badge just for fun.
But down to you guys saying you want it to be more diverse, and Tony, I know, who has credible sources with other Premier League clubs. I thought it was about time that we open it up to not just Arsenal, we open it up to other Premier League teams, and that's why I made Tony, as I announced in the space yesterday, the in charge of that. Any Premier League news that he gets from other teams, he'll post on the All Things Football account on Twitter, and that's where we're going from so forth. And I wanted to introduce a new member of the All Things Football account. It's gonna take a while to get used to it, but I wanted to introduce a new member of the All Things Football account, Con. Welcome, bro.
Cheers, boys. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
As I said, I've known Con for ages. Con was actually originally the first person that I spoke to Con before any of you guys.
Yeah, I was the last.
Especially when he did his like little Twitter space. So I'm more than happy to have Con here. I'm so glad that he's here. So mate,
cheers,
welcome.
Boys. Happy to be here as well.
Yeah, delighted to have you on.
So let's get right into it. The transfer window. So what should we start with?
Well, so Arsenal, and then I'll end it off with my news, or.
So let's talk about Arsenal first. Let's talk about the rumors. Let's dissect it. Let's break it down. Let's start with the one marquee signing that everyone's talking about, Maddison.
Maddison.
For me personally, Maddison is a marquee signing that we need. I know we had conversations in the chat. Who would you prefer out of Maddison and Grealish? I said Maddison. What would you say, you two? Would you prefer Maddison or Grealish? I have my reasons for why I prefer Maddison, but give me your reasons.
Personally, I think they're different players. To be honest, the way Arsenal play, I would say we'd like in the way we set up. I would say Maddison suits better, but I would prefer to sign Grealish. But in terms of for Arsenal, I would say I prefer Maddison. He gets a lot of goals. He's an actual number 10, whereas I think Grealish is more of an inside forward. He starts as a 10 and sort of drifts out wide, or sort of starts out wide and drifts inside. He isn't an out and out number 10. So for that reason, if I had to sign one to play number 10, I would go for Maddison.
Yeah, that's the thing with me. I would go for Maddison, and the reason being is, don't get me wrong, Grealish is a quality player and he's displayed it so many times in the Premier League. In terms of his ball carrying ability, it's second to none. And if we didn't have ESR, and I'll get onto that, I'd say probably yes, I'd prefer Grealish. But no, I know when you talk about players, you talk about you need styles in your team, different styles, which gives the opponent you're playing a disadvantage. You know what I mean? So I know I have that Grealish type player in ESR in terms of potential wise. So for me personally, I would go for a player that not necessarily we have, which is a goal scoring midfielder, and that is Maddison to a T.
Yeah.
So for me personally, it's Maddison all day.
100%.
What about you? That's why I picked Maddison any day of the week. And from what we're told, it's looking positive, very positive.
Yes.
I'll be happy as well.
AA FIFA 2000 says, you guys seem confident in what you put out on Arsenal, which I respect, but how can we trust your news? Well, I'll break it down for you. How can you trust our news? You will see it. as soon as we put our news out, don't you think it's funny how the news we put out is being put on mainstream? Well, I call it mainstream because that's the one you guys like fully trust. So anything we say is put on mainstream. So, and plus, at the end of the day, you guys don't have to follow us. If you don't really trust us, you don't have to follow us. Really, all we are doing is just telling the information that we're getting told and putting it on our individual platforms. And as you can, you've seen it many times. We've been proven right. I'll give you, and there's reasons why that deals are fragile. Deals are like fragile. So even if we put out a deal, unless you see the player on the Arsenal website, even sometimes when the players announced on the website, the deal doesn't happen. You know what I mean? So deals are fragile. They can break down at any time. So that's what I have to say on that. Like at the end of the day, we're confident because we believe our source, and at the end of the day, it comes out eventually out on the main media.
Yeah,
it's impossible to get everything right as well. Like you can't really win. So like you can get told things and you can hear things, and like you say, deals are fragile. Things can like change in the last second. Like if everyone thought, for example, everyone thought Conte was going to be the new Spurs manager. It was like signed, sealed, delivered, all this nonsense. Then all of a sudden it falls through. Then everyone thought the ex-Roma manager was going to be the next manager. It's signed, sealed, delivered, mainstream media all over it, and it falls through. Things fall through. It's just people, I think, when people say, why can't I trust you? Like, there is a lot of people who just talk nonsense. Like, it's fact. But at the same time, I think people want you to fail. Like, they want you to be wrong. They want you to be wrong more than they want you to be right. If that makes sense. I don't know why. But it's
that's why I have a problem. I have a problem with this platform. Like, that's why I have a problem. Like, rather than encouraging people, don't get me wrong, there are lies out there. We saw, for example, Joe Daguna come out and lie. That things like that give our people like that gives us a bad name. But there are genuine people who actually, I'm genuinely speaking to everyone who's watching this. There's genuine people who actually do care. Like want to give out best news. We're not actually lying. I can't stress that enough. At the end of the day, we're not getting paid for this. We just kind of give information out that we get told. So that's what I have to say.
Going back to what you were saying, Daniel, about it's not done until they're even on the website. A prime example of that in player, because obviously Conte gave us two great managerial examples in Conte and Fonseca. A player example of that would be Daniel James to Leeds. He had his medical all agreed. It was just one little clause in his Swansea contract that prevented him to join, and Swansea board refused to answer to Leeds calls and everything just to make them stronger. So it's not even done even when it's on the website. It's as soon as you see the man with a pen in his hand with the contract.
And also,
that's what I'm saying,
he went supposed to go Lazio, but he went around Sociedad, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah, it's another one.
And that's the thing. You can't win as well. Say for instance, let's say for example the Dan James thing, which everyone see on that all things lead, all or nothing thing. Say for instance that was us, or someone who was sort of putting up news for Arsenal, and that deal fell through. Everyone would slate you for that and say, "Oh, you're wrong." But it just shows that these things happen all the time, right? And the thing is, and if that did go through, say for instance you waited until you was 100% sure with news, it would be so out there in every single publication that when you did say it, everyone would be like, "Oh, you're just a tapping merchant." So you can't really win. Like either you're tapping in other people's news, or the news ends up being not coming true, or when it does come true. For instance, like when I was tweeting about Gabriel in the summer last year, and it ended up coming true, everyone was like, "Oh, anyone could have guessed that. Anyone could have guessed that." But at the same time, there was news being put out by all these like mainstream like Daily Mails, etc., saying that Man United have hijacked it and he's going to Man United now. And I was saying, no, don't worry, it's not happening. And everyone was like, "Oh, anyone could have guessed that." So you can't win. So it's up to people whether they want to believe what you want to say or not. Really, that's the way I look at it.
Bro, I totally agree with you. And we're gonna. It's not at the end of the day. We're gonna continue doing what we're doing. I mean, it's not like you're gonna derail us anyway. We have a brilliant platform here. We are building something here, and I can feel it with all these people here, and you can see what we're doing. And we're going to keep growing. So yeah, let's start off. As I went a bit off track, but let's go on to Maddison. As I said, he's seen as the marquee signing by the hierarchy. Arteta's
Simon's
planned.
here,
Yeah, Simon's here now. Oh, hey,
Sorry,
Simon. Can you?
Yeah, I
It's all
just
right,
got
mate.
back now.
So welcome, Simon. We were just talking about how people can be quite negative on Twitter. Instead of encouraging us, they're putting us down, wishing our downfall. But we're still here. So we're still here. And I know you've been like a receiver on the negative end of people like slating you, especially on this hour thing. Especially on
Oh, sorry,
our.
that's me. Sorry, that's me.
Oh.
Yeah, big time. And I'm so glad that that journalist, who's very respectful, very reliable, and I've been told that on 2 people, and one of them person that's told me that is actually part of our group behind the scenes. So now I know he's very reliable, which I already knew in first place, but it doubled basically. But yeah, like I've said, I've literally nailed my colours to the wall. I literally, you know what I look like. I'm here, look. I'm here. This is me. So you know what I look like, and I've literally stuck to my guns all the way through this Hossim Awar, all the way through. There were one person that told me that the deal was off because of Maddison, and then the same person that's constantly told me information, and I've always backed it, and I've gone with it, even laughed it off and went, it's a separate deal, mate. It's a separate deal. So, and then when I saw that tweet this morning, because I thought it were a fake account, I thought somebody had done a fake account of him. So I clicked onto him and I'm looking, I'm going, no, it's actually the right person. Fantastic. Because this is the news that me and Daniel have been waiting for. Someone credible to actually come out with it. That everyone looks at his tweets and goes, whoa, even he's saying it now. Because then it don't make me look like an idiot or anything like that. I can just look at it then, retweet his tweet, say thank you, fantastic work, and then just be proven right. But now I've seen another tweet from someone saying, if personal terms have not agreed or a fee is not close to being agreed, then they're lying. And it's like, that's your opinion. That's your opinion. But it's the same as Gabriel Magalhaes last summer on the transfer exchange. We were told when that was done. As soon as the FA Cup final was done, Arsenal were straight on the phone getting that deal done. Nicolas Pepe was a big positive for it as well. But then Man United came in, Paris Saint-Germain were coming in, Napoli were coming in. Napoli had a verbal agreement with him, but they struggled to get rid of Koulibaly. So they struggled basically financially. It was never an issue for Arsenal. And then this person from Lille, I can't remember the account now, but I'll put it in the chat somewhere. He basically was telling us that there's no to worry about, there's no to worry about. And then it all went quiet with the media because they literally was just a media blackout. So when everyone was going nuts for a week and all these accounts were saying, no, it's off, he's going to Manchester United, it's off. It wasn't. It was never the case.
Yeah.
United offered more money as well. They offered more wages, and he chose Arsenal.
Mate, we just got to keep doing what we're doing. Anyway, let's get into the questions. As I was saying about Maddison, marquee signing, it will not affect the Awar deal. I know people are saying we can't get them in the same position, but it will not affect the Awar deal as far as I'm aware. It's 2 separate signings. Mikel, they're 2 different players, to be honest, Awar and Maddison. Maddison, the latest on that, Arsenal have held positive talks. The player is very keen on the move. He's been following Arsenal for a while. You've seen this many, many times. Literally many, many times. The player is interested in joining Arsenal. As I've said, a bid will be prepared soon. What's your guys' latest on Maddison? I know I've got mine, but you know we all have our individual sources. What's yours, Con? What's yours, Simon?
To be honest, I haven't really heard that much, to be honest with you. Obviously, who I talk to at Arsenal, they don't. I'm not going to say they know everything. Like they just tell me what they want to tell me. So I might not have heard anything. That doesn't mean it's not happening, or it's not good news. It might just be that it's being kept quiet. That they're working in the background trying to get something done and don't want to scarper the deal. But I mean, I know there's interest, and I've heard that from James Maddison's side through his agent. So I know that he's open to moving to Arsenal. But in terms of news from Arsenal, I haven't heard anything to say that a bid's gone in or anything. I just know from reading other people's and talking to you guys that Arsenal are interested. But like I said, just because I haven't heard anything doesn't mean it's not happening. But fingers crossed it's happening from what you guys are hearing anyway.
Yep. What about you, Simon?
Basically the same as like Con. I'm not hearing out from the Arsenal side, but I think the best person to follow for Maddison at the minute is AFC Things. That is the best person you can follow right now for that information, because that is on point. Literally, that account is on point. So he's the best person basically to follow, because I listen to what he says and then I go back and I ask the person who I get my information from, and the person that tells me my information says that yes, we are definitely interested, and he's definitely interested as well. It's just if they can actually come to an arrangement, basically. But Leicester say that if a certain bid is made, they will not stand in the player's way.
And they've already lined up replacements, as I said in my tweet, in Coutinho and Elise from Reading. So they are aware of the interest and they will not stand in his way. So that's Maddison done. Let's move on to Lokonga. I know, Con, you had an exclusive on that this morning. It was retweeted on the All Things Football page. What's that on the latest on Lokonga?
Well, I know that a deal's been agreed with Anderlecht. It's just they're just finalising the details of how the deal is going to be structured. I think they're happy with the fee. I've been told it's undisclosed, so I haven't been told a figure, but from what's been reported, it sounds like it's like 16 million plus some add-ons. But I think they're just finalising it, obviously, with lawyers and stuff about how it's going to be paid in terms of upfront payments and instalments, etc. And then obviously I think personal terms won't be an issue. I don't think they're agreed as of yet. But once all that's ironed out with Anderlecht, then that will be a done deal. I think he'll be the first signing that Arsenal do this summer. And then they'll be moving on to other targets as and when. But I'm 100% confident that deal is going to get done.
Okay, that's good. What about you, Simon? I know you've been bang on the money with a different midfielder. We're going to get into him. I know you're very excited about the prospect of him joining, and that's Camavinga. I know C Walks has asked our thoughts on Graham saying Camavinga isn't happen. I know you have the latest on Camavinga, so what's up with that deal?
Basically, what I've been told with Camavinga, and I have huge respect for Grimes as well. She's a fantastic for transfers, and I'm not saying she's wrong or anything like that, because she might get different stuff than what I get. She's probably more credible in her job than what I am. I'm just someone that knows someone. That's all I am. That's her job probably. So I've got massive respect for her. But Paris Saint-Germain are out. They are out. They were the favourites, but they weren't offering what the player wanted. Camavinga wants to be a starter. He doesn't want to be a squad player. And that's what PSG was offering him. They wanted to sign him, and then wanted him to basically a few cameo appearances and maybe a few games in the French Cup. That's not what this kid wants. And best thing about it with Arsenal have offered everything that Camavinga wants. He wants to play first-team football. He wants to showcase his talent. It's a horrible thing to say, but it's not bad if you let me explain it. It will be a stepping stone. It will be a stepping stone because he knows that the Premier League is the most watched league in the world. Even if Arsenal are not in Europe for one season, right? It's still the most watched. How many times are Arsenal on TV, on BT, on Sky, and stuff like that? So this kid knows what he wants to do. And because basically the Premier League is the most watched, he knows he can come over here, be a starter, because Arsenal are turning around and going, mate, if you want to give us 4 years, we'll happily make you a starter, mate, next to Thomas Partey. You will have competition, but we will give you a starter. It doesn't matter about a fee and wages. That's not an issue. The fee's not an issue for this player. He just wants reassurances that he's going to get a good game time. Edu and Mikel Arteta have told his agents. It's not advanced talks or anything like that, but this has been in the works since December as well, this player. Because it were PSG that were all ready for him. He wanted to go to PSG. That's the team he wanted to go to, but they did not deliver the demand that he wants. He doesn't want to sit on the bench and just sit there, basically, and gets an odd appearance. It's not what he wants. And even if he, like we Arsenal and the players that Arsenal hopefully get up this line as well, it'll just showcase his talent even more. But then it could twist, and if we improve, and Arteta's still here, and he's improved, and he's put a lot of doubters in the mud, i.e. me and other people, we get better and we start bringing in better every year, not every year, but just building on the occasion, I think we could easily end up keeping this lad for another contract extension because the guy just wants to play football. He does not want to be a squad player, and Arsenal are offering him this.
All right, fair enough. I think with me,
100%
just a question I want to ask all of you guys. I know people are saying we should get Bissouma for that money. Who would you guys rather get, Bissouma or Camavinga? For me, let me start. For me, I'll start with I would prefer. I originally said I wanted Bissouma. I know I had an argument with you Simon, in the chat. Me and George, and it was me and George versus you and AFC Things in the chat. Saying we said we wanted Bissouma, and I said you said you wanted Camavinga. But the more I've thought about it, the more I'm like, this is an opportunity we cannot miss. And one of the reasons why I thought that way is because back in 2017, when we had the chance to either get Lacazette or Mbappe, we chose the low-risk player in Lacazette, and we missed out on the chance of getting Mbappe. Now, that was possibly one of the biggest mistakes we made. For me, this Camavinga deal is an opportunity that we can't miss out on because this player is so young. His potential he has so much potential. We don't know what it will be like in a few years. So for me, it's an opportunity that we can't miss out on. So I was just wondering, what is all of your guys' opinion on either getting Bissouma or Camavinga, or should we just get both? Let me start off with the guest Con, and then we'll go from there.
I'd love every player, to be honest. I'd love both of them, but obviously we're talking about Arsenal, and I'll be honest with you, I just can't see us get Camavinga, to be honest. Like, I don't know. I haven't heard anything really positive on it, but like I said, like I don't know everything. So, but if I had to choose, I'd choose Camavinga because I think he's quality. He's only 18 or 19, is he? And he's only going to get better the more he grows and becomes stronger and builds into his body. So I'd love him personally. Like Bissouma, yeah, he's good. He's been good for a couple of years now. But I'd go for the raw talent over someone who's had a couple of good seasons in the Prem. I'd go for someone who's going to have longevity and have a high resale value, which is what you need to obviously run a good business, which Arsenal is now. You're going to need to have players that you're signing for big money, but you're also going to get a return on your investment. So if it's like you say, if it was a stepping stone, which it would be, the Arsenal of old, it wouldn't be. It'd be like the pinnacle. But I mean, let's be real. If he come to us and he tore it up for three seasons, the likelihood is a PSG or Real Madrid are going to come in, or Man City, and going to blow us out the water and offer him the world. But at least then you'd get some value back for the player, and then you'd be able to reinvest that into another young talent or another next big thing. So that's what I think Arsenal would, if it was.
All right, fair enough. Simon, what about you?
I'd get both. I'd literally say to Lokonga and Bazuma, Lokonga, sorry, and Camavinga, right, you two fight it out. Basically, it's like a bum fight. You two are fighting it out for this position. And then I'd go say to Bazuma and Partey, because if you get just Camavinga with Lokonga and you kept Mohamed El Neni as a squad player with Thomas Partey, El Neni's not going to push Partey. So then Partey gets to a point where he knows his place is safe. So he may, even though I know he's not going to drop and basically just not bother and stroll around, he's nowhere near going to do that. But you could say to Bazuma and Partey, right, you two are fighting for a position. Nobody has got a started spot unless you prove it. Competition is key. It's healthy. It's what everyone wants. And I understand that people turn around and go, how can Arsenal get Camavinga, really? How can they get him? And it's like his agents has already said, he's got a lot of offers on the table, but you look at those teams and you look at their midfields and you look at how many players that they have to get rid of and where does he fit into a team? Would he walk into Manchester United's team and play next to Pogba and Bruno? Because that had just unbalanced their midfields. Literally would unbalance their midfields. And then obviously you've got players that are already there. So with Arsenal, Xhaka's gone. Guendouzi's almost gone. That's near enough close to completion. Then you've got Mohamed El Neni, who's been offered a new contract, and it's gone quiet at the minute because they ended it. I think they ended talks in April or something like that. So they might be looking to sell him. You've got Joe Willock, who Newcastle are looking at. So he's another one that could be gone. And then it's like Arsenal's midfield just needs a whole new midfield. And this is what Arteta wants to do. He wants competition literally everywhere. That's what he wants. He's had too many players that feel that their place is safe in the team and they don't try and they don't do nothing because they know they get picked every week. And that's what he doesn't want. And that's what he's had to deal with for 18 months. So for me, it's Arsenal Football Club. I know people are laughing at everything. Third biggest club in England. I don't care what anyone says. Go get both. But if you have to pick one, I'm picking Camavinga all day long.
Fair enough. Tony, what about you? What about you, my friend?
I've been about the same about as you, Daniel, with saying Basuma at first, but Camavinga, 18 years old, as Ton said very well, he would have a high resale value. Like, for goodness sake, Arsenal are known for their selling ability. Like, I think Con and I had this discussion on a space. Do you remember, Con, about what we were saying that Mark Overmars is our record sale? And that's 21 years ago. Like, I'm not saying we need to sell him on straight away, but say if we get him for, like, say, £40 million, we'll probably double that in a few years' time if he does have the same potential as people say he is. We will make money off it. So, I am saying Camavinga. Basuma, even though he's 24 or 23, 24, I don't see him growing as much as he hasn't got a higher ceiling than Camavinga. And also, you've seen how, not saying to praise Arteta, even though I'm an Arteta in, how Arteta improved De Bruyne at City. Like, Arteta knows what he's doing and what he wants to do at this club. He just now needs to be backed. So, I would say Camavinga.
Okay. Oliver, what about you? Who would you prefer?
I'll take both of them. Just because you play Camavinga starting and then Basuma, they like Basuma swap round one weekend, isn't it? They can play one weekend, one can play the other.
Okay, makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that's interesting. Some people here say Basuma. Like Tristan says, I'd say both, but Basuma for now, he knows the league and he'll adapt, which is actually fair enough. There's another one here from Sea Walks. Basuma we need now, which makes sense. And another question from AA FIFA 2000. So who are we realistically getting this summer in your opinion? Let's start with Simon. Simon, who do you think we're gonna get this summer?
What, realistically?
Yep.
Lokonga, Onana, Ben White, so that's 3. Right back's a bit of a question mark at the minute because there's so many that they're looking at. One of Camavinga or Bazuma. It's one of them for me. I think it's one of them, but I won't be surprised and I won't be shocked if it were both. And then I think we'll exchange Lacazette. I think Lacazette will leave and we'll go and get the guy from Eintracht Frankfurt.
Andre Silva.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. Very good one.
Plus, you've got Kieran Tierney's new contract. You've got Smith Rowe's new contract. It's just, so far, it's just a brilliant window, but we don't know. We'll have to wait and see what happens. I can understand why some Arsenal fans don't want to get excited because we've heard it all before. And, oh, it's a war chest, is it? Oh, we've heard this before. So I can understand why they're reserved. Because I'm still reserved as it is, but I'm excited. I'm excited for what I've heard basically behind the scenes and what 2 people have told me. Not like get excited, but just what they've explained to me. I forgot about Awar as well. I definitely think we'll sign Awar.
Yeah, I was gonna tell you about that. This guy asked you what about Awar. I thought you said it was close, Simon. I was gonna ask you on that. That guy asked you a question.
See, this is what I don't get with people saying is like personal terms and stuff. Personal terms are still the same as last summer. There's nothing different. The only person, like I said this morning, I've seen who's actually put his figure basically of what salary, 6 mil a year or something like that. I think he said he's the only one that's put the salary and the wages basically for the contract. So for me, it just makes no sense why people keep saying, well, he's got to agree personal terms. Well, no, it's the same as last year. The only difference is it's the fee. How are they going to structure the fee? What I've been told is that Arsenal are happy to either do 15 or 20 mil up front with 5 mil in add-ons over his contract.
Wow, that's really good, man. That's really good. See, some people are doubting our chances about getting Camavinga, but we'll see. In football's a crazy game. You never know what can happen. No one thought we were going to get Odegaard at the start of the January window, and it was an opportunity that opened the door for Arsenal's possibility of getting Odegaard, and it happened pretty fast. So you never know what can happen in the transfer window. A question I wanted to put to Con. Con's been absolutely brilliant again, as always, on this. What's the latest on Ben White?
Yeah, sorry, I think I lost you a few times there, boys. I'm driving, so the signal's a bit shit. But yeah, the latest obviously I got told by someone who, well, obviously I spoke to the agent of Ben White, and basically I was told to take down the post up because he didn't want me to name exactly, so I apologise to Alex for that in advance. But yeah, I know full well that deal was 100% going to get done. Again, it's just the things that are holding it up are obviously, I don't think Southgate wants deals to be done in whilst, like, for instance, they're in the England camp. That's why you haven't heard nothing about other players like Harry Kane and stuff like that, nothing about their future. But in terms of the fee with Brighton, from what I know, it was a £43.5 million deal with it's rising to £50 million with add-ons. Them add-ons are all based on performance-related and team-related goals. So, like, if Arsenal get back into the Champions League within 3 years, I know that was one of them, and that was, I think, worth about 4 million. And then the other ones were performance-related goals, like if he makes a certain amount of appearances, stuff like that, which I think Brighton were happy with. So it's just a case of agreeing with the way it's structured in the instalments and how it's all going to be paid. And then it's literally plain sailing, get a medical done. But I don't think that deal will be announced until hopefully the end of the Euros when England win it. But I think that deal won't be announced until England are out of the Euros and everyone's back home. But yeah, that I'm 99.9% sure, barring any miracles, any major blows, that deal will be done and he'll be an Arsenal player next season.
What's your guys' thoughts on that?
I'll put my neck on the line.
What's your thoughts about him joining? Because I know some people are like,
it's a brilliant signing. I think it's a brilliant signing. He's versatile. He can play. When he was at Leeds, he played half the season as a central defensive midfielder. He can play there. He's comfortable on the ball. He can play right back. Like, he's played right back for Brighton. He's played right centre half in a 3. He's played centre half in a 2 with Leeds. I think he's versatile. He's young. He's obviously growing as every year he gets bigger and bigger and better. Like, he was at Newport. I think the guys at Newport really loved him when he was there when he was much younger. And from who I speak to, he's like a model professional. He gets in early, trains hard, wants to learn. And I think that's what Arteta likes about him, is that he's not someone who's sort of like a prima donna who thinks he's the best thing since sliced bread. He's willing to learn, and he's obviously got the homegrown status as well, which is huge. That's another thing that Arsenal are trying to do. That's why you see him linked with Maddison and Ramsdale, the goalkeeper, and stuff like that, because they need to get homegrown quota for the Premier League. And they see him as a future star. Like, he's going to be a mainstay for a long time, I think, in the England team, especially with the way football's evolving with, like, ball-playing centre-halves. So, I mean, he's excellent on the ball and he's versatile. Like I say, he can play many positions. And I think he's only going to get better and better. And playing at a bigger club alongside bigger players, playing bigger competitions, he's only going to get better and better. So I think it's a brilliant signing.
What about you, Sabin?
Exactly, same what Con says. I mean, it says everything when Tony Adams rates him. When Tony Adams actually says that he will be a future England captain. So for me, that's just enough. And I've seen people say, why are we paying this much money for someone from Brighton who's just going to be just like a Rob Holding? And it's like, if you honestly think Rob Holding and Ben White are the same people, just give up football. Just give up football and go and take up Kabati, because obviously football's not for you. Yeah. It's a fantastic business. Absolutely brilliant. It's like you said, though, Daniel, when you goes Arteta, he brought in David Luiz. He used David Luiz because he's a ball-carrying centre-back. So Rob Holding is not good at carrying the ball forward. Gabriel is not the best at carrying the ball forward. Chambers is not really that good at it. But you've got Ben White and you've got Saliba that are fantastic at carrying the ball forward. So for me, it just ticks loads of boxes.
Totally.
That makes sense. As I said, for me, the Ben White deal, the only thing I have an issue for, in terms of the competition for Saliba, yes. Competition for centre-back places, yes, it provides competition. He's better than Rob Holding. He's better than the current crop of players, yes, that we have. The only issue for me was the price, for me. I just felt like it was a bit too much, but I do have to take into account English tax. You know, every England player, there's like £20 million added on to the value. So
yeah, it's like Rob Holding. It's like Rob Holding when Arsene Wenger says, "I'm sorry, you didn't cost 50 million." No, because it's English tax. You've got to be a good English player with English tax. It just don't work for Rob Holding. Oh, well, there he goes, an extra 20 million because he's English. No, it don't work like that. See, Man City with Jack Grealish, they're having to pay over 100 million for him because obviously 80 million would have got the deal done, but then there's 20 mil on top of that because he's an England international, full international. So you got that there, and then you've got English tax on top. It's some people just need to understand basically with this English tax and stuff like that.
Yeah, the English tax is only there because in the Premier League, there's a certain quota of homegrown players you have to have. So that's why these players cost a bit more. I only feel like it's Arsenal who don't get the money for the English players. But every other team, if you look at Liverpool, when they sell their homegrown players,
What? Did you guys hear that? Or
What?
Con?
I think Con's cut out. He said he was driving.
Yeah, he's driving, isn't he?
Oh, okay.
He's driving
He'll be
to
back.
take Becca to the airport. I'm hearing, but he's not doing it anyway.
What's the latest on Nelson and Torreira? A question from one of our viewers. For me, what I know on that is Nelson's going out on loan. Mikel actually likes him. It's unfortunate the squad that he's trying to build, he doesn't necessarily fit in that plan. So he's going to go out on loan. Torreira has been reported there's interest from Lazio, but they're far away in terms of how they value the player. So we have to wait and see for those two players. Before we get into so I'm going to go into the other Premier League bit, and this is where Tony takes over. So Tony, give us a roundup on all the other Premier League teams.
Well, name a club and I'll talk to you about them, I guess, because there's loads of them, obviously.
Okay, let's start with... Yeah, there we go.
What's the question?
Everton.
Good question. They are going to make their decision for their manager this week coming up. 8 names are on the shortlist. Obviously, one of them is Brendan Rodgers. Not Brendan Rodgers, Jesus Christ. Rafa Benitez, I don't know where that came from. I can tell you that Arsenal are actually are interested, but I'm not going to say it will happen. But Everton are looking maybe to get rid of John Joe Kenny from Everton. And I know Arsenal are one of the clubs that have put something in, but I don't think it's going to happen. Personally, I don't know why they wouldn't keep him. I'll be honest, at Everton, especially as Coleman's getting a bit on. So I would say Dominic Calvert-Lewin is wanted by Real Madrid.
Wow.
Yeah.
What change of lifestyle going from Merseyside to Spain?
Well, yeah. Well, it's only because of Ancelotti. Ancelotti loves Calvert-Lewin. He's planning to put a raid on Everton. Like, I'm not saying that James Rodriguez will go back to Real Madrid, but I know he's reportedly interested, and apparently Real Madrid are set to launch a £50 million bid, which I just think it would be stupid in a way. Like, I think it's only because of Carlo Ancelotti they would go for him. What else can I tell you about? Everton-wise, mostly youngsters are leaving, really.
Okay, then. Let's go towards a new team. Tottenham.
Who?
What is going on?
Who are Tottenham? Oh, the Tottenham Shitspurs. Sorry for the language, but they are just crap. They're looking
Simon
at
did tell us. Wait, before you go into news, Simon did tell us they were he did predict that they were going to implode like this. Didn't you, Simon?
Yeah, when you look at the stadium, what they've got, it's mental. They paid
Yeah.
250 million for a $1.2 billion stadium.
Stupid.
So it's like they're not in the Champions League every year. They don't win trophies. Well, they've not won trophies since they've moved there. Their fans think that the NFL is going to help them pay towards it. I'm telling you, you look at about 2 million at most, not even that. They're going to have to go through so much. Basically, the only way I can see Daniel Levy doing it is selling their best players. I'm surprised that not surprised, sorry. I'm not surprised, sorry, that Son will sign a new contract because they'll get more money for him. I'm not surprised at all. They'll be thinking Son will be staying, and it'll be like, no, if a team comes in for him, they pay top dollar now for him rather than basically nothing. They're in a real mess when it comes to that stadium. Just how long it took, how the construction on it, how it was just delayed all the time, and it was an absolute. I'm not going to swear or anything, but it was an absolute issue, basically. Absolute. I mean, I'm not a biased fan or anything like that. Their stadium is, for me, the way it looks and everything. It shits all over the Emirates for me. Sorry, it does. I know some fans won't agree with that, but it does. It's a brilliant stadium to look at, and it's a nice stadium to look at, but it's going to cost them so much. Their fans are not ready for what's going to happen. You think for the last 5 or 6 years, getting to Champions League finals, constant FA Cup semi-finals, a Carabao Cup final, and you have nothing to show for it. You're going to lose Harry Kane. You're going to lose some of your best players. You will probably lose Ndombele and stuff like that. But suck it up, basically, because that's the only way you're paying this stadium off. Because your owner, I don't think, is going to dip in and help out. No chance. They've only just paid back 175 million loan from the Bank of England, and they'll only go and take another loan out to try and pay more. That's what they're going to have to do. And they will charge extreme prices to watch Tottenham because some fans will do it. They're not ready. They are not ready for what's going to happen.
Yeah, so regarding Tottenham, I was talking about this on the space.
Oh, Tony's gone.
Oh, what happened there?
He'll come back on.
Daniel.
Oh, he's back now. Yeah?
I do not know what happened there. I can tell you that Daniel Levy is no longer in charge, actually, now of the operation to look for the new manager. They have given that sole responsibility now to Fabio. I can't pronounce his name. You know, that new how do you describe it? Football director, shall we say? They've given him now the full reign of choosing the manager instead of Levy, even though, which I have heard. The 4 names I have heard: Nuno. They're going back for Nuno. They are looking at, I will tell you, Jurgen Klinsmann, which I think that would just be a fantasy for them, like to win over the fans after the whole Gattuso saga. They're also looking at, which I think would be a bit stupid, considering he really didn't do well at Barcelona, in Ernesto Valverde. They are looking at him. I don't know why they would. And they are also looking at potentially biting into PSG and getting Pochettino. They're not guaranteed going to go for it, but they are looking into some type of solution. But I think that would just cost them too much money, really. And I know I'm an Arsenal fan, but I think it was a big mistake getting rid of Mourinho. Considering they've had some big names turning them down and such as Nagelsmann, Ten Hag, Conte. I think they will live to regret this. I think they shouldn't have sacked Pochettino in the first place, even though I'm an Arsenal fan. I think that's where it all started going wrong.
They should have stayed at White Hart Lane. when they still had Maurizio Pochettino rather than move to a new stadium. That's what they should have done.
Well,
Because if they stayed at the Lane when they got to the Champions League final and all that, they would have had a better chance at doing something as if they stayed at White Hart Lane. But the fact that they moved into their new stadium, basically shouted about it, raved about it, biggest stadium in London, and it's like, yeah, you can have the biggest stadium in London, but it's going to cost it. And you will find out in the next few years. You will absolutely hate what's going to happen at Tottenham. Because everyone can ever go at Stan Kroenke and say that he doesn't put money into the club and he doesn't do this. As an owner with his franchise, he always looks after his franchises. If you look at his American franchises, that is the hockey one, the football, I don't know names, the hockey one, the American football one, when they've gone so far where they've actually been like rubbish for 3 or 4 years and they really need financial help, he's always done that, and then they've gone up to be the best thing in that league for a few years, and then it sort of sizzles out again. So they're not idiots. They're not idiots. They're not there just to lose money. They know that if they're losing money, they will react. And they've reacted this summer. They've had to react this summer. Even if Arteta wasn't the manager, they still would have done this.
Yes. But yeah, Tottenham, I can't even tell you about links really with them because they obviously haven't got a manager to plan who they want. But I know they are liking looks of, and this is predominantly that Fabio Paratici guy really liking the Serie A so much. Domenico Paradi from Sassuolo is the name they're looking at. Marcus Thuram to Ace Kane. But I have heard also that Daniel Levy is set to apparently disappoint Harry Kane and not sanction a move. But I could be wrong. My source could be wrong. But apparently he is standing firm with Kane.
To be fair, what can you expect? His team, his golden generation has fallen apart. So he needs to hold on to these players as much as he can. But at the end of the day, the players will must be done. I wanted to ask, what's the latest on Crystal Palace's manager pursuit? That's gone awfully quiet. I mean,
yeah, it's even run quiet on my end. Like Lucien Favre was in talks, which I did tell you. I think it was Tuesday, and then the mainstream media got on Thursday. He's also had talks with Everton, so he will have to choose out of those two. My choice is Everton if he got off. I'm not saying he hasn't been offered the job, but you know what I mean. He will, if he had a choice out of Crystal Palace and Everton, he would obviously choose Everton. More money in it, but the one I'm more impressed about is that they are looking at Crystal Palace. I will admit. They are obviously looking at Swansea's Steve Cooper. But they were split last time I was told between the two.
really?
They were 50-50 over them. Half the board wanted Cooper, half the board wanted Favre. But this was before the Favre talks even came out. But I have also heard that Palace are thought to be ripping it up and then biting the bullet and going for Cooper. But I can't confirm that is going to happen. They're looking at him. I would say they have to pay a bit of compensation fee. I think it'll be about 3 to 5 million. Because they really rate him. Fulham manager, I can also say that Fulham have entered the race with Cooper as well. So I think it will be literally one or the other. He'll choose, if he gets offered the Crystal Palace job and the Fulham job, he'll take Palace. And regarding Scott Parker, he is closing in on a move to Bournemouth. They're still, even though Sky Sports reported on Wednesday, they are still trying to get a mutual agreement between them, with Parker demanding more money than what he should be owing. It's like the whole Wilder situation, if you remember that. Like they announced on Friday he was going to leave, and then he didn't leave until Sunday because they're still fleshing out talks. But regarding Fulham, Neil Lennon is a name that you guys should be looking at. A former Celtic manager. I wouldn't be surprised if they went for him.
Fair enough. He didn't do too well, Neil Lennon, when he managed in England last. No.
He did Bolton, if I'm not wrong. Neil
He
Lennon
didn't do great.
He didn't do great, but he did very well for Celtic. And we'll see. Neil Lennon is out of a job. The thing is, since COVID's come out and everything, obviously clubs do not want to pay compensation fees. Because obviously it's quite a bit of money. Like, as you've seen in the past, like Ancelotti, I think Everton got like £10 million for releasing him from Real Madrid to allow him to go. And that is a huge dent. Like we were saying that 45 million for Partey, why can't they just slap that on? Because of COVID. They won't just stop and just give it to them. No, they will have to pick this very carefully. They obviously want to make the best decision. Lucien Favre is a favourite for Palace for one reason only. Well, two reasons. Obviously, he's a good tactical manager. And he wants a very small backroom staff, which is very favourable for Palace. They don't want to do... That's why they fell out with Nuno. But they have to beat other clubs.
Okay, fair enough. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tony, for your roundup as always. One thing I wanted to end off with, we talked about it slightly in the middle of the show. What's your thoughts on the Euros so far, and how do you think it's gonna go? How do you think the Euros is gonna pan out? How do you think it's gonna end? Let's start with Simon.
Simon?
Sorry?
How do you think the Euros is going to end? How have you seen the Euros so far? For England and other teams, what has impressed you the most? Or hasn't impressed you?
Well, Southgate's one of them. That's not impressed me. I think
Why is that?
because he's just clueless. He's ruining this generation. Absolutely ruining this generation. He's done it with 2 tournaments already. He did nothing with the under-21s. I don't know why everyone got excited by that. So I just don't rate him at all. I think with the crop of players that England have got, and you look at the football, you're playing Scotland and you're playing 5 at the back with 2 holding midfielders. It's embarrassing. It's a sackable offence. But I understand why they won't get rid of him, because he's a yes man. Exactly. It's easier for the FA. For, I think, France, I think they had a bit of a shock, drawing 1-1. I think they had a big shock. Germany, I think they'll start to click. Italy, I still think Italy need a challenge. I'm not sold on Italy yet. Good team, don't get me wrong. Mancini's done fantastic because they're well drilled and they're well organised. But it's just the facts. It's just the fact that they need a challenge. Then I can look at it and go, they could do something. Netherlands, I don't see them doing anything. I see them going at it next round, to be honest.
No, yeah, Netherlands haven't been looking too impressive, have they?
No.
Actually, to be fair, I've seen that Southgate is trying to learn from his mistakes from the World Cup 2018. And the reason being is, especially it was shown on full display against Croatia. You know, the most teams that win the Euros have a defensive, organized coach. You saw that with France. With France, they had Didier Deschamps. Everyone at the start of the tournament is like, why do we have Didier Deschamps? Because remember, it was at the time when Zinedine Zidane was available and he was getting linked to the French job. And everyone was like, go for Zinedine Zidane, sack Didier Deschamps, because he plays apparently boring football with the players we have. It's been shown many times, as I said, like teams that win tournaments have an organized structure. And I think that's what Southgate's trying to mold. I just thought of another example off the top of my head. Portugal, they had an organized structure. And don't forget, Simon, they started off terribly. They drew their first 2 games. they only scraped out of the Euros, and look what they ended up doing. So you never know what could happen in tournament football. And they
Well,
had
that's
an
it. If
organised
England
structure.
win the Euros if England win the Euros this year, and it's Gareth Southgate that's bringing it home, I'll buy every single one of you a season ticket. That's how confident I am.
Hey, listen, if you want to spend your money on a season ticket for me, listen, I'm confident. Hey, I'm just saying, like, literally, I can see what he's trying to do, make us more defensively organized so we're not hit on the counter. And the one time he didn't do that, we ended up getting knocked down against Croatia in the semi-finals of the World Cup. So could you understand why he would try and play this defensive organized structure? It may at sometimes it may not work, especially against Scotland. Like, you didn't have to play that type of structure against Scotland. You know what I mean? You could have played more a bit free. But Simon, can you see why he played like that?
All I can say basically is we'll just see how the tournament goes, see what England do. But I don't hold any hope, basically. That's all I can say. Literally, that's all I can say. I'm not really an England fan. I'm not. If they do well, then fair play to them. I'd rather see Arsenal win the Champions League than England win a World Cup.
Due to everyone disconnecting, I'm gonna have to end it here, guys. James Games asks, is he back? Who's that? Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna end it here. Hello, Oliver? Oh yeah, Oliver, I forgot to ask you. What about you on the Euros? What have you been impressed by?
I've been liking for Belgium. Belgium are a good team.
Oh, true. They haven't been too bad, actually.
Really well. They got pulled up by to beat the team.
That's true. That's true.
They got the players. They got Kevin De Bruyne. They got
They have a good structure, and they finished third, didn't they, last year? Yeah, Spain have been terrible, awful. But we'll have to see what happens. True. We'll have to see what happens. Okay. Oliver's been kicked out now. Anyway, I think I'm just gonna end it here. It's just me and you now. We're just the last two surviving. Thank you guys for watching. It's been a great podcast. Con sent his apologies. I don't know what's going on with the internet, but we'll try and get that sorted in time for the next podcast we do. Thank you, Simon, for joining.
Cheers.
Thank you, Oliver, for joining. You've been brilliant as well.
Thank you.
And we'll see you guys soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.